He wasn't just a preacher, he was a presence, a symbol, a man whose voice once roared from pulpits and televisions into the hearts of millions. To his followers, Jimmy Swaggart was more than flesh and bone. He was a trumpet for God, a vessel of fire and salvation. But now, that trumpet has gone silent. The roar has faded into a whisper, maybe forever. For days, the faithful begged for updates. Prayers poured in from every corner of the world. His son, Donnie, appeared on camera with tears in his eyes, pleading for divine intervention. But behind the curtain, whispers tell a darker story. The miracles so many prayed for may never come, because the man they were praying for might already be gone. And not just gone, buried in secrecy. The question is, why hide it? Why the vague statements? Why the calculated silence? Why the blackout around a man who built an empire on being seen? Inside sources claim an emergency midnight meeting was held at the family worship center. Security cameras caught the shadow of ambulances slipping away under total blackout, headlights covered, sirens muted. One former staffer says he knows why, because Jimmy flatlined that night. He claims the family has delayed the truth to preserve ratings, maintain control, and keep the brand intact for as long as they can. But then came the most disturbing clue of all. A deleted livestream, gone in under a minute, showed a motionless hand resting on a hospital bed, a distinctive gold cross ring glinting in the fluorescent light. The clip lasted only 38 seconds before it vanished from the internet, but the image is burned into the minds of those who saw it. Was it Jimmy? Was that the moment the curtain fell for the last time? This isn't just about loss, it's about the calculated control of truth. If he's gone, why are we learning it through leaks and whispers instead of from the family he built his life around? Buckle up, because what's coming isn't a quiet goodbye. It's a storm that could split this family, this ministry, and the faith of millions. The Swaggart name isn't just known in Louisiana, it's global. For decades, his sermons, songs, and televised crusades reached far beyond church walls. So when the rumors started, the world was watching. But instead of confirmation, the family offered only silence, sprinkling vague Bible verses across social media like breadcrumbs. And then came the leaks. First, a blurry 24-second hospital clip said to be smuggled out by someone in the IT department. In it, nurses rush in, monitors flatline, and an unmistakable voice, believed to be Donnie's, breaks the air with the words, "He's gone. He's really gone." Within hours, the video exploded across private Telegram groups and evangelical message boards. Major outlets stayed quiet, but the faithful knew what they'd seen. The next leak came just hours later, an audio file of a woman, believed to be Frances, sobbing and quoting scripture. "The Lord gives, and the Lord takes away." The clip cut off mid-cry. Still, the family said nothing. The silence grew heavier. And then the unthinkable happened. For the first time in over 2 decades, Sunday service at the family worship center was cancelled without warning. Congregants arrived in their best clothes only to find the gates locked, security guards on alert, and a hastily written note taped to the door. Due to unforeseen circumstances, today's service is postponed. Please continue to pray. The faithful stood in the parking lot, some in tears, some filming, others whispering. In one viral video, a woman through broken sobs said, "He's gone. They just don't want to tell us yet." Her words carried the ache of someone whose faith had just been shaken to its core. Then, an anonymous email surfaced, sent to multiple Christian news blogs, claiming to be from a nurse who was on duty the night Jimmy allegedly passed. She described a high-security lockdown in the VIP suite, with close family members rushing in. Donnie, Francis, even distant relatives flown in from Baton Rouge. According to the email, the moment the monitor flatlined, Donnie shouted, "This can't be happening. Not now. Not like this." The nurse ended her email with a single chilling sentence. They knew it was over and now they're hiding it. Why? Some believe it's about protecting his image. Others whisper about something far more earthly: money, inheritance, power. And that's where this story takes its sharpest turn. Because Jimmy Swaggart wasn't just a man of the cloth, he was the head of a multi-million-dollar religious empire. Broadcast rights, music royalties, book sales, donations from across the globe. Insiders estimate his personal estate could top $150 million. And just as the whispers of his death grew louder, a second bombshell hit. leaked legal documents on a private forum alleging a second will had been discovered, one that removed Donnie as the primary heir. The silence finally cracked, not with a pulpit announcement, not with a press release, and certainly not with the dignity you'd expect for a man whose voice once dominated the airwaves. It broke with a leak. A 52-second voicemail began spreading through private Telegram channels and hidden corners of Reddit. The voice on the recording was shaky, weighted with emotion, and to those who knew it, unmistakably from within the Swaggart inner circle. "I can't keep lying," the voice whispered. "Jimmy's gone. We buried him quietly. They didn't want the cameras. They didn't want the questions. They just wanted him to vanish." That one word, vanish, sent shockwaves through the faithful. Not past, not departed, not gone to be with the Lord. Vanished, like an object removed from sight, erased without ceremony. Suddenly, every unanswered question took on new meaning. No funeral service, no televised tribute, no official acknowledgement. Not even a moment of silence during the next midweek broadcast, which instead aired months-old reruns disguised as current. Viewers noticed instantly. The hair was different, the lighting was dated. The sermon topics didn't match present-day events. It was a performance of life projected after death. But why? Why would a family that built its fortune on transparency and televised faith choose to hide the passing of its patriarch? The deeper you dig, the darker it gets. A long-time ministry worker, speaking on condition of anonymity, painted a picture of a leader already fading weeks before the collapse. "He was struggling," she said, forgetting lines in sermons, losing his place. They covered for him constantly. Donnie would step in mid-broadcast. Francis would rephrase his thoughts. They kept the cameras rolling, but behind the scenes, we all knew something was wrong. Then came the twist that set off a family earthquake. 3 weeks before his collapse, Jimmy reportedly called a private board meeting and announced he wanted to step down. Not in favor of Donnie, his longtime right hand, but in favor of Gabriel, Donnie's own son. Young, charismatic, media-savvy Gabriel was already drawing a growing online audience, a bridge to the next generation. But to Donnie, it was a knife in the back. To Francis, it was a betrayal. But Jimmy was adamant. He wanted a clean transition and, above all, peace. That peace shattered days later when he collapsed backstage before a service, with only a single bodyguard nearby. What happened next is burned into the memories of those who saw the leaked hospital clip. Chaos. Arguments in hushed voices, phones confiscated, security blocking anyone without clearance, a nurse suspended for snapping a photo of Jimmy's chart. And when the monitors flatlined, that's when the strategy took over. According to multiple sources, Francis, always the Iron Matriarch, stepped forward and delivered the order. There will be no statements. There will be no press. He is not dead until I say he is. No prayer, no collapse, just control. Staff were made to sign updated NDAs on the spot. Legal teams drafted internal threat protocols. Bank accounts linked to Jimmy were frozen to prevent outside interference. And then came the most haunting piece of the puzzle. Eyewitnesses near a small private cemetery outside Baton Rouge reported seeing a black SUV convoy at dawn. An unmarked hearse followed. No visible casket, no flowers, no public mourners. Just 3 men in black suits, speaking to no one, working quickly. Within 20 minutes, they were gone. The earth was fresh, the grave unmarked. No headstone, no plaque, just a patch of disturbed dirt. Now, combine that with another revelation. A respected Christian investigative journalist uncovered a court filing. Donnie Swaggart petitioning to block probate of his father's estate. The claim? That Jimmy was mentally incapacitated when he made changes to his will. The changes, according to Donnie, were the result of manipulation by external family members. A translation: Donnie is accusing Gabriel and others of coercing Jimmy into cutting him out as primary heir. And here's the real gut punch. Francis isn't siding with Donnie. She's backing Gabriel. In her sworn statement, she claims Jimmy was of sound mind and blessed clarity when he made his final decisions. So while the public mourns a spiritual leader, the empire he built is tearing itself apart in boardrooms and courtrooms. The unity they projected to the world is gone. And the fight isn't about faith, it's about power, influence, and hundreds of millions of dollars. But the most damning voice in this saga belongs to Jimmy himself. From deep in the ministry archives, a never-before-heard sermon resurfaced. On it, Jimmy's voice is strong, defiant. "When I leave this world, don't mourn with your mouths, mourn with your hearts. And if my family fights over my memory, then they've already forgotten who I was." Those words have exploded across social media, quoted on Facebook, stitched into